Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the new winter transfer pack on eFootball. As always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player, so if there's a particular player you want to hear about, click in the description and I'll be able to take you straight to them. We have got 8 in here. It's a coin pack. You can clear the whole pack if you want to get a particular one out of them. And as always, I'll start with lowest rated. So we're going to start with Renato Veiga, who has joined Juventus on loan from Chelsea. So he doesn't have a face scan yet, but he's quite young. I imagine at some point he'll get one. He's an anchor man. Defensive midfielder who can also play centre back and left back. Skill wise, we've got a decent selection of skills here. Depends which position you're playing him in. You could do some passing skills, but defensively, man marking, insertion, aerial, fighting spirit. Yeah, maybe you could do a blocker, but certainly passing, one touch passing, through pass. If you're going to play him as a defensive mid, will be big additions to his skills. But yeah, let's jump over to eFootball Hub. We're going to see how well he trains up. So we'll go through the auto allocation as a defensive midfielder first, and he's kind of all right. He's not amazing. The defensives are reasonable. He's not great on the ball. Passing's not brilliant either for a defensive mid. Again, I always say on a defensive mid, it depends on your preferences. Some people don't mind their defensive midfielders being in the 70s for all these technical attributes. Personally, I like the ball control to be at least 80 plus, and tight possession ideally as well. And then the passing, I like low passing mid 80s. So he's a bit lacking for me, but for you, those attributes might be fine. Down the middle, like I say, I think on the whole he's reasonably strong. The awareness is a little bit on the low side for a lot of people, but it depends how you're going to use him. He is an anchor man, so he's going to stay back just in front of your defence. He's not going to make forward runs. If you want him as your lone defence midfielder in like a single pivot, that awareness is probably a bit on the low side. But in a double pivot, he could well be fine. I think on the whole he's fine defensively in a double pivot. The engagement's alright, the tackling's fairly good. Very aggressive. Got a lot of aggression, this guy. Down the right is a mixed bag. He's got pretty good speed for a defensive mid, but the acceleration is a bit poor. He's quite tall at 6'3", and the balance isn't great either, so he might feel a little bit clunky. He won't be the most nimble. Kicking power's decent, physically quite strong. Jumping's not great, but he's quite tall and he's got aerial superiority, so he should be all right in the air. That balance, like I mentioned, is not great. Stamina's decent though. So yeah, a bit of a mixed bag. I'd like some of the attributes to be a bit higher. It's not an amazing card on the whole. We have had one previous version of Veiga. It looks like it's quite a recent one. It's one of those from a legend pack that's got a kind of dark greenish kind of background. Compared to this one, the attributes are kind of shuffled around just slightly. The only real significant difference is quite a bit more speed on this one. The speed's about 7 higher on this card. Apart from that, not a lot of difference really. So this one, just for the speed, slightly better, but not a massive difference. Although that one didn't have centre back and left back. That was just the defensive midfielder. So yeah, on the whole, this one is slightly preferable card to that one. From his GP card, most attributes have gone up by 3 or 4 from his GP card, except aggression. I did just mention his aggression is very high. That's because it's had the biggest boost from his GP card. They put about 7 points, I think, on that from his GP card. The rest up by 3 or 4, like I say. So yeah, decent boost from his GP card, and he's certainly more aggressive than he normally is. And yeah, as a defensive mid, a bit of a mixed bag. I don't think I'd really shuffle the points around a great deal because you can't really afford to spare many. I mean, as an out-and-out defensive mid, he could take some points off passing and try and make his defending even stronger. Probably just do that. If he's your kind of single pivot protecting the defense, and he could be reasonable there. Like I say, though, you'd have to be comfortable with those technicals not being particularly high, and the fact he's quite tall with fairly low acceleration and balance. He might feel a little bit cumbersome, a little bit clunky, but he could do a job for you there. But in a single pivot, if you're willing to take a few points away from defending, they go down to 12 on defending. Free up some points to put on other areas, get that passing back up to 8. I would go higher on the passing. Stick 1 on dribbling at least. Yeah, like I say, there's not a lot of points you can spare. In a single pivot, the passing is borderline for me, but he does need passing skills. No one-touch passing, no through passing. You'll be surprised to hear that he does not have goalkeeper long throw. That is eFootball Hub, obviously playing up at the moment. But yeah, apart from that, the skills are accurate. And he's pretty well equipped defensively. And there are a couple of nice ones going forward, but he does need one-touch passing, through passing. So even if you increase that passing, for me, one-touch passing, through passing as a defensive mid, very important. But yeah, you can certainly do a job as a defensive mid. I think he's better equipped to be in a double pivot rather than being your kind of sole defensive midfielder. I'm not sure he's quite strong enough to do that on his own. But he's certainly competent in that position. In terms of his other positions, we'll see what the auto allocation tells us for centre-back. As a centre-back, again, he could do a job, but that defensive awareness for me is too low at 84. Jumping 77. Yes, he's tall and he's got aerial, but 77 jumping is not good enough. If you look at the reach, he doesn't even reach 270 centimeters for jumping height, and that's inadequate for me. So, yeah, two things there. The awareness and the jumping that aren't good enough. But to be fair, he does have strengths. The speed is good. The physical strength is good. Stamina's fine. Engagement's decent enough. The tackling and aggression are good. And down the left, 70 plus and all those technicals. So there are plenty of qualities as a centre-back. You'd need to give him blocker, probably heading. And that would just about do it, to be honest, I think. In fact, acrobatic clearance and maybe sliding tackle. Yeah, so a few defensive skills needed. But yeah, I'm not sure many people would see this guy as a centre-back. But certainly if you really want to be a centre-back, you could do a job there. Seems like that might be his main position when playing for Juve, so I wonder in the future if there'll be a better card, certainly for that position in the future of Veiga. But yeah, certainly with this one, could do a job at centre-back, but again, there are one or two weaknesses there. I wouldn't recommend it. And then just to look at left-back, finally, could he be a left-back? Again, same story, he got some strengths there. Speed is good, great kicking power, good physical strength, stamina's good, but the acceleration at 73, the balance at 71, you are going to notice those. On a big tall guy playing at fullback, you want more acceleration and balance. Defensively, the awareness and engagement, probably a little bit low. It depends on what you want from a fullback. If you want to use him as a defensive fullback, then those two attributes in the 70s will probably be a bit on the low side for you. The tackling's okay. Obviously, lots of aggression again. And down the left again, if you don't mind these attributes being in the 70s, and a lot of people are okay with them, being that low on a fullback, if that's the case, then they'll be fine for you, in which case you can focus on the strengths he's got and he might be good enough for you. But for me, I like attacking fullbacks. I don't think he's going to be good enough on the ball, especially being as tall as he is and having the acceleration and balance as low as they are. He's not going to feel great on the ball. I think I could personally get away with these attributes, defensive attributes, on an attacking fullback, but like I said, it depends what you want from a fullback. On an attacking fullback, maybe, but you are going to notice the acceleration and balance. And on a defensive fullback, you might not be strong enough for you defensively. So all things considered with this guy, yes, we've only had one previous version, but it's just about the best version that we've had. And it's a decent card. There's certainly plenty of strengths in any of his three positions, but on the whole, for me, I don't think it's a particularly great card. So if you're a Juventus fan or you're a fan of this guy for whatever reason, it could be a decent card to pick up. It's certainly not particularly a bad one, but it's not an amazing one either. Next up, we have Kyogo, who's moved from Celtic to Rennes in France. So he is a goal poacher, which is what he normally is. We've had a couple of left wing versions. I'm not sure if they're a prolific wing or a roaming flank, but he has been a left wing forward in a couple of previous cards. He's got a face scan, of course, because he's Japanese. Got unwavering form, which is good. Skill-wise, pretty good such skills for a striker. So we've got first-time shot, most important one. Then we got long-range curler, we got acrobatic finishing, heel trick, one-touch pass and through passing. A couple of nice bonuses there. So we got good searching skills on this guy. Let's have a look at how good he can be trained up to be on eFootball Hub. So all maxed out, fully trained up. He looks pretty decent, to be honest. So that awareness is great. The pace is really good, especially the acceleration and the balance. Fantastic. Pretty decent kicking power. The finishing 89, I'd like it to be 90 plus, but we're not shy of it. Not far off it. I'm sure we can get to the 90 mark if we tweak these the training indications. So yeah, looks pretty decent as a poacher. He's not brilliant on the ball, but certainly with his pace, his ability to get in behind the defense, the awareness and the finishing, pretty good, to be honest. If you look at the previous versions of Kyogo, we've had quite a few up to this point. And we've only had one that I can see that's slightly better than this one, and not a massive difference. That was in some kind of legend box at some point. That's as a centre forward. As a left wing forward, there's a few that are around about the same level, around about the same, to be honest. But this is about as good as any as a left winger. And like I say, there's one slightly better as a striker, but only one. Apart from that, this is a very good looking version of Kyogo as a centre forward. From his GP card, they put the most points on dribbling and kicking power. I've had about 5 points added. Tight possession they put up by about 6, and physical contact up by about 7. Other than that, most of his attributes are up by about 2 or 3. On the whole, pretty decent boost. His acceleration and balance haven't been increased at all, which on the face of it is not great, but as you can see, 96 acceleration, 96 balance. I think we can live without those being increased. Those are both fantastic. So yeah, for me, we've already seen the skills. We've got a good section of skills for a centre forward. It's just a question of do you tweak the allocation of training points? And I think you would, with so many points, with such a high attribute for acceleration and balance, and the attacking awareness being so good. I think you can certainly free up enough points to get that finishing to 90, maybe get some other attributes up a bit. So if you were to take, say, 3 away from dexterity, it's still 90 on attacking awareness, and your acceleration and balance is still 93. We've freed up 9 points there, straight onto finishing there to get to the 90 mark. 6 left. Stick them on the ball, dribbling, whatever you call it. I don't know why they call it dribbling. They should call it on the ball, because there's literally an attribute called dribbling. But yeah, I'll call it on the ball. get that up to 7. Be nice to get the dribbling up to the 80 mark. There's 4 on aerial. It's not going to make a great deal of difference. I'm just going to nick 2 points from there. Bang, there you go. I personally would do that. So you've still got good pace, still got good balance, still got pretty decent kicking power, but the awareness at 90 is now matched by the finishing at 90. We're 80 plus now in the ball control and dribbling. That's a really nice little goal poach, to be honest, and he is little, 170 centimetres. If you do like the little players, the nimble, responsive players with a bit of pace about them, this is one of them. I've had a couple of versions of Kyogo, he's been pretty decent for me. And yeah, it's a good goal poach, this. Good selection skills. And I think if you like a small, pacey goal poacher getting behind the defence, then this is a very decent card, this. So yeah, and especially if you're a fan of Ren or maybe even Celtic, if you're still a fan of this guy after he left. Or if you're Japanese, I think it's be a very decent card to pick up. It's a very good version of Kyogo, this is centre forward. As a winger, I wouldn't play him on the right. He's right-footed, he can't cross to save his life. But coming off the left wing, he does have long-range curler, along with first-time shot. One-touch passing, through passing will help with the fact his passing is terrible. But if we go to the auto-allocation, just to ask it, well, I'll select left midfield, see what the auto-allocation is for that. So, yeah, not quite as good on the ball as you'd want a winger to be. Let's just see, can we free up some points? I think we can. How many points can we nick? I'm going to leave him 90 for speed and acceleration. Now we've got 16 points to play with. Hello. Let's go up to 12 and dribbling. He needs more passing, but if you've already got 8 on passing and the next increase to take 3 points, I don't think it's worth it. I'm not sure where it's best to put those last points, to be honest. I'll just put a couple on shooting, to be honest. Yeah, he could be decent as a left winger. Like I say, there have been a bunch of previous versions that are around about the same level. You might have one already. If you're going to use him as a winger, then you probably don't need this one. He's definitely got the pace, good balance. Is he good enough on the ball? I don't know. Very good attacking awareness for a winger, finishing likewise. And he's got long range curler. So coming off that left wing onto his right foot, he could certainly be pretty, very, very capable of getting into good positions to score goals for you coming off that left flank. But if you're like a dribbler, if you like your wingers to get on the ball and do a lot of dribbling, he's not bad on the ball, but he's not great either. So I think, yeah, certainly an option up to play him wide left. But I think whether it's auto allocation or the way that I tweak the allocation of training points as a centre forward, I think it's a very decent little centre forward. He's a small, pacey goal poacher. If that's your kind of striker, you could do a lot worse. I think it's a very tidy card, this. And next we have another centre forward. This is a deep lying forward. So we've got Kolo Muani from Juventus. He's just joined them from PSG. He's got a face scan, only standard form. Skill wise, decent selection skills. So first time shot, again, the most important thing as centre forward, acrobatic finishing as well, and heading. He is quite a tall guy, 6'1", 6'2". One touch passing, through passing. I would say a nice bonus, but it's not so much a bonus. He's a deep line forward, so those are actually important skills in a deep line forward. He's going to be dropping deep and getting involved in the build up. So let's have a look at eFootball. How good is this Kolo Muani card? It's decent. He's certainly got some strengths here, but if you look at previous versions, we've had a bunch of versions of Kolo Muani, and to be honest, most of the previous versions of Kolo Muani are slightly better than this one. It isn't the best. There's not a massive difference. He's round about par for the course, but most of the previous ones go about one higher in terms of the overall rating. He's always a deep line forward, but those previous cards do include a couple of Player of the Week cards, which are goal poacher. So yeah, there are other cards of Kolo Muani which are slightly preferable to this one, but like I say, not a massive difference, and this is still a decent one. Compared to his GP card, it's not the most exciting boost, to be honest. They boosted most of his attributes by 2, pretty much all of them by 2, to be honest, except physical contact. They've added 5 to physical contact. That is a decent one to boost on a deep line forward. If he's going to be dropping deep from and getting involved in the build up, a bit of physical contact will help, especially the way the game is since the big update late last year. September, whenever it was. So yeah, it's a decent card. This, like I say though, if you've got a good Kolo Muani card already, you probably don't need this one. But if you don't, and if you're looking at this and you're thinking about getting it, it's certainly a decent one. For me, with that playing style deep line forward, the one concern I've got is his passing is not great. So it's a question of, can you afford the training points from elsewhere if you're going to shuffle them around? It depends how you're going to use them. Deep line forwards are quite a specific kind of, it's quite a unique playing style. It's not the most popular playing style on a centre forward. Like I say, he will drop deep and get involved in the build up. He's not going to be darting in behind the defence a great deal. So could you afford to take a few points away from attacking awareness? In my opinion, you could. You could dip down to 90 attacking awareness. I mean, to be honest, it depends how many points you need to free up for elsewhere. Passing for me is important. You could just do that. To be honest, you could literally just do that, get that low pass up to 78. I think for a lot of people on a centre forward, even a deep line forward, that would be okay for low pass. If that's okay for you, then you could just do that. He's still at 90 attacking awareness. He's okay on the ball. I'd like him to be a bit better for a deep line forward, but he certainly could be worth your 80 plus and all those on the ball attributes. That low pass to 78, like I say, that could be okay for you. Finishing 84 is not amazing. I would like that to be a bit higher as well on the centre forward. Pace is good. Got a decent jump on him. It's just over 6'1". He's got the heading skill. What's his vertical reach? 270. It's not amazing. You could put aerial superiority on him, make him decent from crosses. I don't know. It's an option, but he's not going to be dominant in the air, that's for sure. Decent balance and a bit of physical contact. So yeah, I think I've mentioned on one or two previous videos, I've had a couple of versions of Kolo Muani. I think the one I've got currently is the one from the France pack that had the Griezmann legend card in it. He has been decent for me, to be honest. I've not used him a great deal, but when I've used him, I've tended to use him when I've done on some rare occasions for the national team challenge. I've used the France squad, and I've put Kolo Muani up front with Thuram, and I found they work pretty well as a pair. That's the thing with the deep line forward, though. It tends to work best when you've got someone next to him like a poacher or a fox or even a dummy runner, which Thuram used to be for me. Depends how you use him, but he has been decent for me. He feels a bit better on the ball than he looks. I think mine's got worse balance than this, so I imagine with this one having a bit more balance than my one, he probably will be quite decent on the ball, deceptively good on the ball for a tall guy. With a bit of pace, you do notice a bit of pace on him. But yeah, that finishing a bit low for me, so to be honest, I personally would be inclined to take a couple more off dexterity, because those last two on dexterity have cost us 3 points each. You take those two off dexterity, just go straight on to finishing, gets finishing up to 86. And to be honest, you only need 3 more points to get the finishing to 88, because the next increase goes by 2. If you could take 3 off aerial, maybe sneaky, get the finishing to 88. Yeah, I'll be tempted to do that. Now the jumping's gone below 80, that's a bit annoying for my OCD, but yeah, I think we could live with that. But as you can see, you need to kind of just shuffle the points around a little bit to try and boost certain attributes. If you feel like the mid 80s is fine for finishing, in fact, if you took a 3 away from shooting, maybe just 2, you could get his low pass up to 80. That might be worth doing. Stick a couple back on aerial. There's a few things you can do. There's not a huge amount you can do with this guy, but there are a few points you can shuffle around, as long as you don't mind just kind of scrimping slightly on certain attributes like awareness or finishing, whatever it is, to get other attributes higher. Like I say, in my experience, this guy is decent. It's just comes down to that playing style, and there have been quite a few versions of this guy which are mostly a little bit better than this one, but this guy does have qualities. He's got pace, he's not bad on the ball. Depending on how you train, the awareness and finishing are both at least alright, could be decent, and he can boost his passing up on a deep line forward, that's important, but he does have one-touch pass and through passing, so yeah, there are plenty of qualities with this guy. It's not an amazing card again. I can't pretend it's amazing, but it's certainly not a bad one, but it just comes down to that playing style. And depending on how you shuffle the points around, you can make him very usable. You can give him a profile that matches up with that playing style pretty well, in my opinion. So yeah, it could be a very decent centre forward if that playing style works for you. In terms of his other positions, again, just like with Kyogo, we're not going to play this guy on the right-hand side. He's a right footer, he can't cross. You're not going to get anywhere playing him on the right. If you train him as an SS, same situation really as an SS. You could maybe scrimp even more points from his dexterity, shuffle the points around and make him even more suited to being more of a playmaker. I wouldn't do much too different from what I've done though. Wide left though, would you want to use him wide left without an active playing style? That at least would be one way of getting rid of the deep line forward playing style if you don't like it. What could you do? Let's just see. I've not tried this guy as a left winger before, but we'll see if we can make him half decent. You could, you know. Hello. He's not bad left winger. Just thinking, can we get his dribbling up to 90? No, not really. I'm gonna get a bit more balance because the balance isn't too high. I'll just do that, I think. He could be an option left wing, you know. The pace is alright. He's got decent pace, he's decent on the ball, very good awareness for a wide man. The passing is decent, especially with one-touch pass and through passing. Finishing at 80 is alright. He's not got long-range curler. If you are going to use this guy as a left winger, I'm not necessarily recommending that, but if you did, long-range curler would be the one skill I'd look to put him in straight away. Apart from long-range curler, he's pretty well equipped. Finishing's decent at 80, like I say. The pace, a little bit of balance, a little bit of physical strength as well. That's actually an option, you know. If you did want to use him wide left, you really want to use this guy, but you just don't like that deep line forward playing style, you could put him wide left with the position trainer, or with however many position trainers it takes. Could be 1, could be 1,000. You never know. Position trainers absolutely suck. but you could put him wide left. You'll shake off that playing style. Like I say, if you're training something like this, he could be decent there. He could be a decent option there. So yeah, I'm not sure that's necessarily the best way to use him, but you do have that option. But whether you do that or whether you do like the playing style using through the middle as a centre forward, I don't think it's a particularly amazing card, but it's a decent one. There have been a lot of previous versions that are slightly better, but it's still a good version of him. And if he works for you, the profile, the playing style, and all the rest, yeah, not an amazing card, but certainly a decent one. And like I say, in my experience, he does feel pretty decent. He's a pretty good player in this game. So yeah, could be a decent card for a lot of people. And next we have Trevoh Chalobah, who has joined the team he already played for because he was out on loan. I don't know why this guy's in this transfers pack, but yeah, Chelsea have recalled him. So we've got a Trevoh Chalobah card. He has a face scan. He's a build-up centre-back. He's about 6'3", standard form, lacking in skills. He does have some important ones, man marking and interception especially, but if you're going to put this guy in your squad and use him a lot, I would strongly recommend you give him blocker, heading, aerial superiority, acrobatic clearance, fighting spirit. Just give him loads of defensive skills because he is lacking. So how good can this Trevoh Chalobah card be? Let's train him up on eFootball Hub. Not bad. So he's strong in most of the areas he needs to be. Down the middle there, 90 plus in all his defensives, good. Physical strength 90, good. Jumping, that's an issue. Pace is good, fairly good anyway for a centre back. Stamina's decent enough. Yeah, on the whole, you've got a very solid looking build-up centre-back here, but the one concern is that jumping is not great, 76. So he is quite tall, 6'3". He does not have aerial superiority, and that jumping height, 269 again. As with, I think it was with Veiga we were looking at earlier in the video, it's not good enough for a centre-back. So, yeah, I would definitely look to give him aerial superiority. Could we tweak the way he's trained, get his jumping up? I'm not sure. You don't want to take him below 90 on the defensives. You don't want to... I mean, where else have you got points? It's really just the dexterity and the lower body. Do you want to go below 80 on speed? Not really. You could maybe take those 4 away from acceleration. I think you could get away with that. Put them all on goalkeeper 1. Get his jumping up to 80. His jumping height goes up by 2 or 3 centimeters. Is it worth it? Don't know. He's a solid centre-back. He's not an amazing one. It's really just the jumping, though. And he does need skills, so... yeah, he needs to be able to jump a bit higher, and you need to put some skills on him. But if you don't mind the jumping, and if you are willing to put the skills on him, solid centre back, very decent. Nothing amazing about him, but yeah, certainly could do a very good job. But there's nothing really, there's no real glaring weakness apart from the jumping, to be honest. Although with the game the way it is currently, lots of people are doing a lot of crossing, whether it's for Showtime Nunez or for Kolo or for Lorenzo, Luca, whoever it is. If your opponent's doing that, this guy probably won't make the grade for you, but apart from that, it's a solid centre back. This I can't say a great deal more about him. Should we try him as a right back? I'm not expecting too much. What's the auto allocation going to tell us? Well, as a defensive right back, he could do a job. He could do a job. I mean, he's not going to be great on the ball, obviously, but as a kind of auxiliary centre back playing on the right of your defence, just that acceleration really is the big concern. Can we do much about that? Not a great deal. That's about what you can do. Would you use this guy as a defensive right back? I'm not sure. Is it worth the position trainers? Is it worth giving him a few more skills? You would need a few more skills, whatever position you play him in. I don't know. If you're desperate, maybe you could do that. But I think as a centre back, given how good he is as a centre back, and again, I'm not saying he's amazing, but he's pretty solid apart from his lack of vertical reach. I think it'd be a bit of a waste to use as a right back. But yeah, as a centre back, certainly. I mean, you could position train him for defensive mid. Actually, I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think like with Veiga, I mean, if you want a defensive mid to just sit in front of your defence and just protect it, you're not bothered about the technicals and any kind of ability on the ball and all the rest. He could do a job for you, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. Again, it's a bit of a stretch. I don't think people are going to... I'm not sure many people are going to waste the position trainers getting him good enough to play there, and then in addition to a couple of defensive skills that he'd need to have one touch pass and through passing and stuff, so... yeah, I think you're looking at this guy primarily as very much a centre-back. And he's pretty strong, to be honest. It's just he can't jump very high. So that is a weakness. But apart from that weakness, and it is a weakness, and obviously the fact that he desperately needs a few more defensive skills, those two weaknesses do need addressing. But apart from those, he is solid. But those two weaknesses are there. So those two weaknesses are the reason why this isn't a particularly great card. But outside of those two weaknesses, he is pretty solid. And next we have Donyell Malen. So... roaming flank, routing forward. He has joined Aston Villa from Dortmund. He has a face scan, Inconsistent form, bit of a shame, but at least he is getting live update now, whereas he wasn't when he's at Dortmund, albeit he's on D form currently. But yeah, he is at least getting some live updates. So if he starts playing well, the inconsistent form won't matter. Skill-wise, got some pretty good skills. Depends what position you play him in. This is another guy who, you look at the position he's registered position, wide right. Can't cross to save his life. He's a right footer. I don't think many people are going to play him there. You switch him straight over to the opposite flank, it's a completely different story, because as a right footer, cutting inside, long range curler, long range shooting, acrobatic first time shot. He's got outside curler, which is a helpful one. Super sub as well. I think wide left is definitely where most people put this guy. You could play him centre forward as well, but let's just see how good he actually is. We'll jump over to eFootball Hub, and he is pretty solid. So we've had a bunch of versions of Malen. We've had a few around the same level. It's a pretty good version. The one in the recent Netherlands pack, I think that's still available, is pretty much the same. I think there's one slightly better, that's in some kind of legend box, kind of blue-pink background. But yeah, the better ones are around about the same as this one, really. One thing I will say is that the one in the Netherlands pack, I mentioned when I reviewed the Netherlands pack, I mentioned in the video that with these highlight cards, they often boost one or two attributes more than the rest, and they boosted his finishing on that card. So that Netherlands pack version of Malen is actually better as a centre forward. If you train this one as a centre forward, he could certainly do a job. He's got qualities, he's got great pace, fantastic pace. They got acceleration 99, and the awareness at 89 is fine, but finishing 84 not so great. They did boost the finishing, like I say, on the version in the Netherlands pack. So if you wanted to get this guy and play him as a striker, the one in the Netherlands pack is better in that position, but as a wide forward, pretty much the same. And this is a pretty decent card. Like I say, better on the left than the right, because I'd much rather have him on the left, can't get onto his right foot. Passing is the one real concern. He can't pass the ball to save his life, so be very careful with the passing, but the finishing is decent enough at 80. He's pretty good on the ball, especially that dribbling at 95. Attacking awareness is good for a wide forward. Got great pace, 94 and 95, really quick. Kicking power's alright, balance is alright. A little bit of physical strength about him, not a brilliant stamina. On the whole, pretty tidy. He is a super sub. Maybe this is a card where with his stamina not being brilliant, he's going to be one to bring on in the second half, and with his pace and all the qualities he's got, it could be a really handy super sub. He is a roaming flank. I personally do like that playing style. I love having a roaming flank on one or both of the wings. They drift inside, they take up some very interesting positions. He's got good attacking awareness as well, so I think he could be pretty effective with that playing style coming off the wing, especially off that left wing onto his right foot. And like I say, it's just really the passing. I'm not sure I would really retrain him. I don't think I'd reallocate points, because yes, you could certainly afford to lose a few from dribbling, but do you want to go any lower on the ball control and type possession? I'm not sure. You start to notice that, because yes, they are decent, 88 ball control to 89 type possession, but you start taking a few points away from there. If you went down to 8, for example, 83 and 84, I don't know. You might start to notice that. You could do that, maybe make his passing a bit better, but or maybe his shooting even, but I don't know. I'm not sure that's worth it. I think the auto allocation for me is pretty much the best way to have him. Just be very careful with his passing, because he cannot pass the ball to save his life. And for that reason, if you're going to put skills on this guy, I think one-touch pass and through passing are the first two skills I would suggest to try and compensate for his passing to some extent. But yeah, as a wide man, I think pretty decent. Wide left is where I'd be putting him, cutting into his right foot. He's got lots of qualities. Can be a very handy card, especially as a super sub. And as a centre forward, like I say, not as good in that position as the one in the Netherlands pack, but if you don't have that Netherlands pack, and if you don't want to get it, what could we do? Could we make him any better? Where could we get the points from? There's not a lot of points to be spared. You can take the ones off Ariel. That gets his finishing to 85. He might be one where you just need to sacrifice a little bit off his awareness. We just need 2 more points. Oh, we can afford one off lower body. We'll nick one off there. Boom, 88. So you can get his awareness and finishing both to 88. Still pretty nice on the ball for centre forward. Passing again, still got to be careful with his passing. He's not great at passing, but he's still got great pace. Good balance. He could certainly do a job. He won't have an active playing style as a centre forward, but the awareness is decent enough. Finishing likewise. Tidy on the ball for a striker. Rapid, good balance. He's got the most important skills for a striker as well. First time shot, long range curler, and a super sub again. So yeah, could do a job as a centre forward. Probably most valuable as a wide forward, but certainly centre forward is an option for you, and you're not going to need to position training for that because he's already got it. But yeah, I think probably a bit better as a wide forward, and he could be a very handy super sub especially. So yeah, it's pretty much par for the course for a Donyell Malen card. Not the best centre forward version because of that one in the Netherlands pack. tight possession, I think, is the one that boosted the most from his GP card, actually. Most of the attributes are up by 2 or 3. But yeah, tight possessions had a nice boost, so that helps when you play him out wide. So yeah, as a winger especially, it's pretty much par for the course, but it's a good card. If you don't already have a good version of him, could be a very tidy card to pick up. And yeah, you've got 2 options, centre forward or out wide, especially wide left. So it's pretty much par for the course, but it is a good card. If you don't already have a good version, could be a pretty handy one to pick up. And now things get a bit interesting because we've got Omar Marmoush from Man City, and they've actually changed his playing style and his positions. So Marmoush is normally a centre forward goal poacher. They've changed him to a left wing forward, prolific winger, and they've added some positions. So he now has left wing forward, left midfield, attacking midfield, and SS all added to his positions, as well as that change in playing style. Very interesting. That I wonder if that's an indication that they're going to be changing his GP card at some point. But yeah, either way, he's got his face scan. He's got unwavering form as well. Skill-wise, most important ones for a centre forward. We've got first-time shot. Long-range curler could do with that, especially if you're going to play him wide left. And that's what they put him down as. You don't have to play him there, of course, but if you do play him wide left, then even as a centre forward, long-range curler would help. If you're going to play him through the middle as an attacking mid, you certainly need one-touch pass and through passing. But let's have a look at how good he is in each of his positions on eFootball Hub. So where are we? There we go. So all maximum, all maxed out, all trained up and everything. Yeah, pretty tidy. So this is as a left wing forward initially, looking pretty nice. We've had a couple of versions of him now. We've had one in that national team pack. We've had a player of the week one just recently when he scored a hat-trick against Newcastle. Both those cards are good. There's not a massive difference, but I would say this one is a little bit better. I think this is the best version we've had of Marmoush so far. Compared to his GB card, his pace hasn't changed at all. They've not added any points to his pace, but we've got about 6 points added to ball control, about 7 to tight possession, and they've added about 10 to physical contact as well. So pretty nice boost on, for this guy, because if you're going to play him out wide, I mean, if you're going to play him anywhere, when you get him on the ball, he's going to be more comfortable technically in possession, and he's got a bit more physical strength as well to fend off opponents. So a nice boost on the whole, that. And yeah, playing him wide left, he's got the pace, he's very good on the ball there. Quite in a way similar to Malen, because it's just the passing that's a weakness. You've got great awareness for a wide man, the finishing pretty good, very good on the ball and the pace there, reasonable balance, bit of physical strength. Yeah, it looks like it'd be pretty decent there. One or two people who got his player of the week card said he didn't feel that great, but this is slightly better. They didn't, I think they kind of nerfed him slightly on the ball, that player of the week card. They're all kind of in the 80s, I think, the on the ball attributes, but in the 90s now, especially with that boost they're giving into his ball control and tight possession, so maybe this one will be better. He will feel a lot nicer. And yeah, I don't think I'll do a lot with how the points are allocated. I mean, you could beef his passing up a bit. That's the one thing you could maybe do with doing. You could certainly, where could you spare the points? I mean, you could afford to lose a few from acceleration, but do you want to dip below 84 on balance? I'm not sure. If anything, I'd maybe just take the 4 from shooting, put a couple on passing, but is it worth it? I'm not sure, to be honest. It might be another one where I'll just leave it, to be honest, because as a wide man, you don't want to lose too many points, like I say, from the balance. You wouldn't want to lose, I mean, the speed you could lose at least 1, but you do want to dip below the mid-80s on kicking power? I wouldn't. I'd be inclined to just probably leave him there. Just accept the fact he's not great at passing. If you're going to give him skills, again, one-touch pass and through passing, compensate for his passing, and long-range curler would be the first one I'd put on. Wide left, long-range curler is absolutely crucial. It's such an important skill when you cut inside and hit those curling shots. So that's what I do skill-wise, and in terms of the allocation, like I said, I'd probably leave it like that wide left. I think it'd be very good, quick, good on the ball. Just be very careful with his passing. In terms of other possessions, again, right-footed. I'm not putting him on the right-hand side because he can't cross to save his life. Definitely going to be putting him on the left-hand side. Through the middle, as an attack midfielder, I don't think we're going to be able to make that passing good enough. We'll see what the auto allocation says. Yeah, attack midfielder with 73 low pass, no thank you. Just not happening. Even if you get him one-touch pass and through passing, his passing absolutely sucks, and that's with his passing increased to 8. Attack midfield is out of the question for me. As an SS, I mean, I would probably go with pretty much that allocation of points, to be honest, as an SS. And it would just be one of those where you'd have to focus on getting into good positions to get shots away, and just try not to ask too much from with his passing, which is difficult as an SS because you're going to be involved in the build-up with the, just behind the attack, but certainly if you use him as an SS, like I say, if you focus more on shooting than passing, you could get away with him there. He's going to be nice on the ball. He's got good awareness. He can certainly shoot. But yeah, like I say, the passing for me, not great. As a centre forward, again, I'll just see what the auto allocation tells us. Yeah, decent. Very decent. And again, I don't think we need to do a great deal really, because he's decent on the ball for a centre forward. Awareness at 90, finishing 92. I didn't realise he was good at free kicks. I think I've seen him take a free kick, but he's got very good set pieces. Good pace for a centre forward. Balance is decent. Bit of physical strength as well. Yeah, nice. Pretty nice. I don't think you need to really beef much up. Again, just the passing. You might want to make the passing a bit better. You can nick a couple off finishing, go up to 4 on or 5 even. Yeah, get his low pass up to 70. You can maybe do that. Still at 90 awareness and finishing. The acceleration's fantastic there. Yeah, I think this guy, like I say, I wouldn't play him on the right. I wouldn't play him as an attacking midfielder. He can't pass the ball, but either wide left as an inverted winger. The prolific winger playing style will be active as a left wing forward. He will not have an active playing style as a left midfielder, but he could certainly play there. So yeah, as an inverted winger, come off the left flank, give him long range curler, and he could be very, very effective. Through the middle, not so much behind the attack, but as an out and out centre forward. Again, won't have an active playing style, but in my experience, that doesn't really hold him back. I think he'd be fine there. He's certainly got the attributes. Good selection of skills, but again, you might want to give him one-touch passing, through passing. I think most people would want to give him long-range curler before anything else. I think that's the most important one, but it's got a lot of qualities. This is the best version of Marmoush that we've had so far. No doubt there will be more versions in the future, but this is a good one. Interesting that they've changed the positions and the playing style. They've rarely done that. I only noticed that previously on the role changes ones, the nominate contract ones, but they've done it on this one. There's another one we're going to be looking at in this pack where they've done similar as well. So it's quite interesting they've done that. I wonder if that's something they're going to start doing more often, but yeah. Either way, got more positions on him, new playing style. I think it's the best version of him that we've had so far. I think wide left or as a centre forward, this is a pretty good card, this. And if you're looking for a Marmoush card, if you're a Man City fan, I think we'd be very happy if you get this. It's a good card. And now we have Khvicha, who has of course joined Paris Saint-Germain from Napoli. So he is a prolific winger. He's had a few playing styles. He's mostly been a prolific winger or a roaming flank. There was a whole player of the week card. But yeah, prolific winger this time. Of course, he's got a face scan. Unwavering form, which is great. I imagine now as a PSG, he's going to be getting a lot of good form as he sees an A form now. So with unwavering form, getting loads of A and B form, yeah, that's a big plus. And then skill-wise, as an inverted winger, I think the vast majority of people are going to use this guy off the left wing as an inverted winger, in which case long-range curler, very good skill to have. Apart from that, though, he's not got a great deal in terms of end product. You might want to give him first-time shot. You might want to give him one-touch pass and through passing. But for the dribblers, you've got a few skill moves there. Soul control. If you give him flip flap, that will get him the ball roll double touch. So yeah, he's got some good skills there. You probably need a few more in terms of end product. But let's just jump over to eFootball Hub and we'll see how well he trains up. So he's obviously very good. You can see where the main strengths are. It's exactly where you expect. He's great on the ball. We've had obviously a lot of versions of Kvaratskhelia up to this point. And to be honest, there's a whole bunch that are slightly better than this one. There's a Showtime one that's obviously better, unsurprisingly. There's one or two training balls and player of the weeks as well that's slightly better. So yeah, it's not the best version. We've had a whole bunch that are slightly better, but it's not far off. It is a good version of Kvaratskhelia. Compared to the GP card, it's an interesting kind of boost that they've done on this one. So they've added 6 to tight possession. They've added 4 to ball control, 5 on finishing. They've added 6 to physical contact. And they've taken 2 away from lofted pass for some reason. But yeah, some interesting boosts there. Finishing, bit better on the ball, bit more physical strength. Apart from that, most of his attributes have gone up by about 2. So yeah, it's a decent boost they've given him. Might not be the best version of him, but it's a decent boost. The finishing especially, I think it's good to get a bit of a boost on there. Didn't really need to be boosted on the ball, but he's looking fantastic there. All 3 of those attributes well into the 90s. In terms of the way the points are allocated, would you change much? I mean, do you need to? Not really. Certainly on the ball you could spare a few points, but would you want to? I don't think many people would want to, really. If you did, you could take a few off, leave them all 90 plus, and that frees up 9 points. What would you do? Make his passing better? Maybes. You could do that if you're worried about the passing. I personally would do that because I like my players to be able to pass in any position, even the goalie, to be honest. 1 point spare there. Could we get the balance up to 90? Yeah, if you take one off lower body, boop, get his balance up to 90. Personally, I would do that, but I don't think it's going to make a massive difference. It just depends on where your priorities are. I think most people would probably stick with auto allocation or similar and just make him an absolute freak on the ball because he's going to be a great dribbler. To be honest, in my experience, I've had one version of Kvaratskhelia for a long time. I had one of the first versions in a Napoli pack. he's not been that great for me. I don't know if it's just the fact he's tall and he feels a little bit clunky for at least compared to how good he looks like he's going to be. He just doesn't feel that fluid when he's dribbling and stuff. I'm not great at dribbling, to be fair. I'm not going to tell you this is a bad card by any means. A lot of people love this guy, but for me, I've not really had much joy with him. But this is a slightly better version, I think, than my version. Not a massive difference. But yeah, like I say, he's certainly got some great on-the-ball attributes there. The awareness and the finishing are decent. He's got long-range curler, so as a left winger cutting onto his right foot. If you don't have a good version already, this is one of these cards where if you've got a good version already, you might not need this one. But if you don't have a good version already and you want one, certainly it's a good card. He's got a lot of qualities, this guy. Is definitely one for the dribblers based on the attributes and the skills. Could you position train him for another position? Put him through the middle. You're basically looking at centre forward or SS. I think SS, you wouldn't do much different. You'd probably just do what I did just now and just make his passing better because it's a bit more important as an SS. Yeah, as an SS through the middle, I'd probably do that. That's what I did before. As a centre forward, let's just see what the auto allocation tells us. Can you make him a good striker? Decent. Not amazing. It's the finishing that's a little bit on the low side again. Just like when we were looking at, I think when we were looking at Malen just before. You don't need to be that good as a centre forward, so you could nick. I mean, in fact, they got 4 in aerial. Let's nick those. Can we make his finishing good enough? 3 more points. We can get his finishing up by 2 from 86 to 88. I know most people wouldn't want me to do that, but I'm going to take him off dribbling. I would do that. If you did want to make him an out-and-out centre forward, pace, especially with that crazy acceleration, really good balance. Still good on the ball, at least decent on the ball for a centre forward, but the awareness and finishing have both got the 88, and the passing is reasonable. So as a centre forward, could do with first time shot. Again, he does not have got goalkeeper long throw. You'll be amazed to hear that is eFootball. But yeah, he could do with first time shot if you do that. But you do have the option if you position training for centre forward. You could make him a decent centre forward. But again, I think the vast majority of people, pretty much everyone, is going to see this guy as a left winger, which is what he's supposed to be. With the strengths he's got. Again, if you've already got a good version of him, you probably don't need this one. But if you don't, he's got a lot of qualities, some good skills. You could do with 1 or 2 skills, maybe with the passing, and like I say, it might be worth giving him a flip-flap if you want to do your ball roll double touch if you're a real dribbler. But yeah, loads of qualities there. If you don't really have a good version, it's a good Kvaratskhelia card. And we finish up with probably the card most people are talking about from this pack. So it's Kyle Walker. And as with Omar Marmoush, this is the other card in this pack where they've changed things around. So they've changed his playing style first. He's normally an attacking fullback, but they've now made him a defensive fullback. They've not changed his positions around like they did with Marmoush, but one thing they have changed, they've taken away captaincy from his skills and they've given him blocker. So that's really interesting that they're starting to change things around a bit on some highlight cards. And that, I think, for most people will be an upgrade. Captaincy is a nice one to have for sure, but to change that for blocker, definitely an upgrade. Playing style is personal preference. For me, it's a downgrade because I do not like defensive fullbacks, but it seems like most people do like defensive fullbacks. So I think for a lot of people that could be really preferable, although fullback might not be the position you're going to play this guy. So let's just jump over to eFootball Hub. Of course, he's got a face scan before I forget, but yeah, let's jump over to eFootball Hub. How good is this Kyle Walker card? So all maxed out, all fully boosted up. He's pretty good. He has great pace, great kicking power. He's physically pretty strong. The balance isn't too bad. I'd like it to be a bit higher, but you can't have everything. Stamina's fantastic. Defensively, he's strong. Just that left column is not great. But again, as I always say, if you like a defensive fullback, most people who like that playing style on a fullback don't seem to mind these attributes being as low as they are here. I think most people who like this type of a fullback will probably say that's okay. For me personally, it's not. But with the change in playing style, it's not a card I'm going to be looking at. I don't think I'll be playing this guy anyway because I like attacking fullbacks. But yeah, as a defensive fullback, I think most people will be okay with the left column, but you will need to be careful on the ball because he's not going to be particularly comfortable in possession. But yeah, it's a good-looking version of Walker, this. To be honest, if you look at all the previous versions of Walker we've had quite a few. Not that many, to be honest. We've not had a whole load of cards, but we've had a fair few over the last couple of years. We've had a Showtime version, it wasn't too long ago. That Showtime version obviously was the best version we've had, but apart from that, I make this the best version we've had. I don't see any other trainable versions or Player of the Week versions of Walker that are as good as this one, either as a right back or as a centre back. And that centre back is the position that a lot of people are looking at. So yes, as a defensive fullback, this is a good card. You've got a lot of qualities here. Look at what they boosted, the change from his GP card. Again, an interesting boost. So we've lost a couple of points of kicking power. Interesting, but I think we can afford that. Either a centre-back or full-back is absolutely fine for kicking power, but where they boosted him, They put 7 points on balance, which is good because his balance was not great before. We've got 6 on his defensive awareness. We've got 5 on physical contact. And we got 4 on tackling, acceleration, and stamina. So yeah, they seem to have really made the effort to make this a very, very nice looking Kyle Walker card. As a defensive fullback, really nice boost with the attributes, but certainly with the defensive awareness, especially and the tackling. If you're going to use this guy as a centre back, that's also an option for you. So as a defensive fullback, the pace, pretty much everything really, unless you're concerned about the left column, this could be a really fantastic option as a defensive right back. But as a centre back, let's start with the auto allocation. This is interesting. So down the middle, this is very much one of these cards that's kind of a glitch centre back. Supposed to be a fullback, but when you make him a centre back, you suddenly got a very nice card in your hands. Those defensive attributes down the middle, really strong. Down the right, really good pace for a centre back. The aerial and the physical, that's the slight concern. His jumping's not brilliant. He's only 6 foot, so he's not going to be great in the air based on these attributes. Physical strength 88 is decent enough. I would say it's okay, but you want your centre back, you want all your attributes to be better than okay. So it would be nice if we could get that a bit higher. But the balance for a centre back is decent. Stamina's good. If you look down the skills, so they have added blocker, man marking, interception, acrobatic clearance, blocker, slide and tackle. What you really need to give him, heading, it's not just his vertical reach winning headers, but when he does win a header, 71 heading, that's not great. So I would definitely look to give him the heading skill, aerial superiority as well to help him winning headers. Maybe fighting spirit, maybe sliding tackle. That's about it really. He just needs a few defensive skills, but he's got some of the most important ones already for a centre back. And in terms of the allocation of points, obviously he's very strong down the middle. That's the one place we can spare a couple. As you can see here, they've gone up to 16 on defending. It goes in groups of 4. Those last 4 increases on defending cost us 4 points each. If we take 2 away, that's 2 forwards. So we get ourselves 8 points to play with, and we're still 90 plus in all those defensives. If we go straight into aerial, get his physical strength up to 90. Jumping still only at 89, but with 2 points left, we don't have enough points to increase the aerial anymore to get the jumping up to 90, but we do have our old friend goalkeeper 1. Just 1 point on there, bang, straight up to 90 on jumping. And with 1 point left, 1 point's not enough to increase his acceleration or his speed, but you're looking at his speed there at 89. If you take 1 away from dexterity, you can afford that. Now he got 2 points. Boom. Now you can go 90 speed. None of that makes a massive difference, but I think it is important to try and boost his jumping. That's the one biggest difference we've made there, getting that jumping up to 90. The jumping height 272 is still not brilliant, but we've improved it. I do really recommend, if you're going to use this guy as a centre back, that you give him aerial superiority. That will really help to compensate to some extent for his vertical reach not being great. But we have improved that. Like I say, we've got the physical strength up to that 90 mark. We're still 90 plus down the middle, and now 90 speed, 90 stamina as well. Athletically, this guy's fantastic for a centre-back, and he's defensively strong. It's just that slight lack of height, really. That's the only real concern. Down the left, he's fine for a centre-back. You've got a really sneaky, glitch centre-back here if you get this guy. Give him a few extra defensive skills, including aerial superiority. And this guy, I think, is a very strong centre-back. Yes, he's lacking a bit with the vertical reach, but he does make up for it with the pace. So if your opponent's using players like Kolo or, Showtime Nunez or Drogba, spamming loads of crosses in for big, tall strikers, you may well come up short with this guy, no pun intended. But if your opponent's strikers are more like, Romario, Michael Owen, the small, nippy strikers, with the pace this guy's got, he could be absolutely fantastic for you. So as a right back, especially if you like the defensive fullback playing style, this is a really, really good version of Walker, and it could be a really good card to pick up. As a sneaky centre-back, yes, there's a slight concern over his aerial ability, but outside of that, he's got a lot of strength and he's got fantastic pace for a centre-back. Just needs a few extra skills, but either way, if you do use defensive fullback, or if you fancy him as a centre-back with the pace, this could be a really, really strong card for a lot of people. So there you go. There's your winter transfers back. It's a bit of a mixed bag. I think Kyogo's a pretty decent centre-forward. Chalobah a bit lacking in the air, but apart from that, he's a solid centre-back. Kolo Muani, not going to be everyone's cup of tea with the playing style, but it could be a decent one for quite a few people. Marmoush, best version we've had of him. That's a pretty tidy card, either wide left or through the middle. Malen's actually a tidy one himself, especially as a super sub. Kvaratskhelia, just another Kvaratskhelia card, really not the best one. A few of these cards aren't the best version of them, but they're still good cards. And then Walker, outside of the Showtime card, that is probably the best version we've had of him. So yeah, I think Walker's probably what most people are talking about, but you've got some others in there that are quite decent. It's a mixed bag, but I think mainly for people who are fans of these teams. If you're an AC Milan fan, for example, you might want the Walker card especially. Likewise, if you're a fan of any of these other teams, or if you're quite new to the game, I think it could be a very appealing pack. If you've been playing the game for quite a while now, you've got a strong squad, Not sure on the whole it's that appealing of a pack, but I think Walker probably is the one card in this pack that a lot of people are going to be quite tempted by to get their coins out. So yeah, for some people could be an appealing pack. There's certainly 1 or 2 cards in there that could be pretty nice ones to pick up. So there you go. Hopefully you found this useful. Thank you for watching. As always, let me know what you think of the pack. Let me know if you're spinning for anyone in there. I'll be seeing you on Thursday for Player of the Week. So have a fantastic week. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you soon.